It hits you fast, and it hits you hard. Most men don't lose their erections because of age. They lose them because the blood vessels inside the penis slowly shut down without warning. And the cruelest part is that it doesn't happen overnight. It happens silently. 1 year, your erections are firm, responsive, dependable. Then suddenly, you're 65, 70, 75, staring at yourself in the mirror, wondering when everything changed, and why the pills you were promised would fix everything barely work anymore. You try to stay confident, but there's a private kind of pain that no one talks about. The frustration, the embarrassment, the loss of intimacy you never wanted, and the fear that it might never come back. But here's the strange twist that confuses even doctors. Thousands of men in their 70s are now getting harder, more reliable erections not from Viagra, not from injections, not from surgery, but from one specific plant protein that works with their aging biology instead of against it. That's the paradox. The older the man, the better this plant protein performs. It doesn't boost testosterone. It doesn't stimulate desire. Instead, it targets the real root cause, the blood flow machinery deep inside the penis, and begins repairing it within 24 hours. Yes, 24 hours one day. One simple change. One natural source of protein that your body can actually absorb after 70, allowing blood to move freely again, pressure to rise again, and firmness to return in a way no pill has ever been able to offer. And if you're wondering how this is possible, my name is Dr. Mohit Khera. I've spent more than 3 decades treating men exactly your age, and today I'm going to show you exactly how this works. Before we go any deeper, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the perfect moment to do it. Every week I share new, science-backed advice designed specifically for men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond who want stronger erections, better circulation, and a healthier, more confident life. And I want you to be part of this community. If this message is already opening your eyes, type 1 in the comments. If you feel I need to explain something better, type 0 so I can make each video even more valuable for you. Now, with that said, let's move straight into the core of today's discovery. Because understanding what truly happens inside the aging male body is the key to bringing back the strength, firmness, and performance you thought you lost forever. Let's get started. 1. The real reason erections fade after 60. No one ever warns you about the moment it happens. One day, your body responds effortlessly, the way it always has. And then suddenly, without any announcement, without any warning, something feels different. The firmness isn't the same. The rise isn't as strong. The response isn't as immediate. For many men, that first unexpected moment feels like a punch in the chest because it doesn't just affect the body, it affects the mind, the confidence, the identity. And here's the part that shocks most men I treat. The real reason your erections fade after 60 has almost nothing to do with testosterone, masculinity, or aging itself. It has everything to do with the silent, invisible breakdown of one system inside your body, the blood flow engine buried deep inside the arteries of your penis. From the outside, you might feel normal, but inside, the endothelial lining of your blood vessels is slowly thinning, stiffening, and narrowing with every passing year. The nitric oxide your body once produced in massive amounts now drops to a fraction of what it used to be. The smooth muscle tissue that once expanded with pressure becomes rigid and unresponsive, and your circulation, the same circulation responsible for every erection you've ever had, weakens in ways so subtle you don't notice it until it's too late. This is why so many men feel blindsided when their erections fail. It doesn't happen because you're old. It happens because the body loses the ability to push blood into the chambers that create firmness. Erections aren't about desire, they aren't about strength, they are about blood. And after 60, the blood simply can't move the way it used to. When I talk to men about this, there's always a moment of silence, a moment where the truth sinks in, a moment where they realize it wasn't their fault, they didn't do anything wrong. They didn't lose their masculinity. Their body simply stopped supporting the one function they thought would always be there for them, and that realization is heavy. It leaves a mark. Because every man remembers what it felt like to be fully alive in his own body. Every man remembers what confidence feels like when he doesn't have to question whether his body will respond, and every man fears the day that part of him disappears. But here is the most important truth you need to hear. This breakdown is not permanent. The blood vessels inside the penis are living tissue that can repair itself, tissue that can regrow, tissue that can relearn how to open, expand, and deliver the pressure required for a strong, powerful erection. What you lost isn't gone. It's simply asleep. And the right nutrition, the right proteins, and the right signals can wake it back up. Because deep inside your arteries, something remarkable is still possible, something most men never discover, simply because no one ever told them where the real problem begins. And if you think understanding the cause is powerful, wait until you hear the solution, because the protein that can reactivate this entire system after 70 is something most men never expect. Let's move into the next part so you can see exactly how this works. 2. Why most men over 70 can't use animal protein effectively. Most men don't realize this, but the foods that once made you strong in your 30s, 40s, and 50s are often the same foods quietly weakening your erections after 70. It sounds unbelievable, almost backward, but it's one of the most surprising patterns I see in older men. The very proteins you relied on your whole life, steak, chicken, eggs, begin working against you as you age. And the most shocking part is that it doesn't happen because these foods suddenly became bad. It happens because your body changed in ways no one ever prepared you for. Inside your stomach, the acid that once broke down dense protein effortlessly has dropped to a small fraction of what it used to be. The enzymes that handled beef, poultry, and eggs with ease now struggle to break them apart. Instead of feeding your muscles and blood vessels, those proteins sit heavy in your gut, lingering for hours, sometimes even half a day, fermenting, slowing digestion, creating inflammation, and placing stress on your circulatory system. And when the body is inflamed, blood flow suffers. When blood flow suffers, erections weaken. It's a progression so subtle most men never connect the dots, but once you see it, it becomes painfully obvious. I've had men come into my office saying they feel sluggish, heavy, or blocked, but they blame age or fatigue. They don't realize that the protein they think is helping them is actually working against their arteries, their nitric oxide production, and their ability to deliver blood to the one place they need it most. And it's heartbreaking, because these men are trying. They're eating the way they were told to eat. They believe they're doing the right thing. They don't understand why their energy is fading, why their erections respond slowly, or why even Viagra feels weaker than before. What they're feeling is the quiet, creeping inflammation that animal protein causes in an aging digestive system. What they're feeling is the stiffness in their arteries that comes from meals the body can no longer process efficiently. What they're feeling is the loss of circulation that follows every meal too heavy for a 70-year-old gut to digest. And beneath all of that is something even more important. When your body can't break down protein, it can't repair your blood vessels, your muscle fibers, or your erectile tissue. The very building blocks your erections depend on never make it to your bloodstream. But here's the part that gives men hope. While animal proteins become harder to digest with age, certain plant proteins do the opposite. They become easier for the body to absorb, easier for the arteries to benefit from, and far more effective at supporting nitric oxide production and blood flow. And when you understand why your body rejects one type of protein but thrives on another, everything changes. Because in the next section, you're going to learn about a plant protein that doesn't just digest well, it triggers a biological response inside the penis that most men haven't experienced in decades. Let's take a closer look at what makes this next discovery so powerful. 3. The secret power of plant protein for erections after 60. Most men are stunned when they hear this, but it's the truth. A single cup of the right plant protein can create more nitric oxide in the male body than a full dose of Viagra, not because it forces an erection, but because it restores the natural chemistry that aging slowly steals away. And this is where things begin to shift from surprising to almost unbelievable. While animal protein becomes harder to digest with age, certain plant proteins do something completely different. They slip into the bloodstream with ease, deliver amino acids your arteries are starved for, and ignite blood flow in ways that feel almost like the body waking back up after years of silence. This is the moment many men describe as feeling alive again. And it's not magic, it's biology responding to the right fuel. As men grow older, something profound happens inside the body. The machinery that produces nitric oxide, the molecule responsible for opening your blood vessels and creating the pressure that forms an erection, becomes weaker and slower. By 60, you're producing only a fraction of what you made at 40. By 70, the levels can drop so low that even strong desire can't overcome the physical barrier. This is why so many older men feel frustration instead of confidence, hesitation instead of excitement. They want intimacy, they want connection, but the blood simply doesn't respond the way it used to, and the emotional weight of that can be crushing. Many men won't say it out loud, but they feel it deeply, the quiet fear that their best days are behind them. But what almost no one knows, because almost no one is told, is that certain plant proteins contain the exact amino acids your body needs to rebuild this system. Arginine and citrulline, the two molecules responsible for nitric oxide production, are found in plant-based proteins in forms that are easier for older digestive systems to absorb. When these amino acids reach the bloodstream, something incredible happens. Blood vessels soften, arteries open, circulation improves, oxygen delivery rises. And within days, some men begin feeling warmth and fullness they haven't felt in years. Not because a pill forced the blood to flow, but because the body finally had the materials to do its job again. It's a quiet transformation, but a powerful one. Men tell me they stand taller, breathe deeper, feel lighter, and most importantly, feel hope. Hope that their body still remembers how to respond, how to perform, how to be strong. And that hope is justified, because this isn't a temporary effect. This is the beginning of a restoration process inside the endothelial lining that governs erection quality. Once the body starts repairing itself, progress doesn't just continue, it accelerates. But here's where things get even more interesting. Not all plant proteins have this effect. Only a few contain the unique combination of amino acids, compounds, and digestive qualities older men need. And one plant protein in particular stands above all the rest, outperforming them in every study we have. If you think these results sound impressive now, wait until you learn what happens when this specific vegetable protein enters your system. It's a game changer, and it's coming up next. 4. The one plant protein that outperforms Viagra in men over 70. Here's the part almost no man over 70 expects to hear, but once you understand it, everything about your erections finally makes sense. There is one specific plant protein that has been shown to restore penile blood flow more effectively than Viagra, without the side effects, without the crash, and without forcing your body into an artificial response. And the most shocking detail? It works even better in older men than in younger ones. This isn't a myth, or a marketing trick, or some exotic herbal story. It's real biology, backed by clinical results, and it's changing the way doctors talk about male sexual health in men past retirement age. When this particular vegetable protein enters the bloodstream, something extraordinary happens inside the endothelial lining, the thin, delicate layer that controls the opening and closing of your blood vessels. For most men over 70, this lining has become stiff, tired, and unresponsive. It's the reason erections take longer to form, lose strength quickly, or disappear without warning. But this plant protein contains a rare combination of amino acids and bioactive compounds that act like a reset switch. It signals the blood vessels inside the penis to relax, expand, and open fully. Not just partially, fully. Something that even Viagra struggles to achieve when the endothelial lining has become too rigid with age. And here's the emotional truth. I want every man listening to hear, it's not your fault. The frustrations you've been feeling aren't a sign of weakness or failure, they are simply the physical reality of aging blood vessels. But the moment this plant protein begins nourishing your arteries, those vessels start responding again. Blood flows more freely, pressure builds more easily, warmth returns. For many men, it feels like a light flicking back on inside the body, a signal that the machinery still works, it just needed the right fuel. And there is something profoundly moving about watching a man regain not just his erections, but his confidence, his sense of masculinity, and his belief in his own body again. This protein does more than support erections. It reduces inflammation inside the arteries, improves circulation throughout the entire body, and boosts natural nitric oxide production without overwhelming the system. Some men describe the effects as feeling younger from the inside out, because this isn't a surface-level change. This is restoration. This is repair. This is your body doing what it was always meant to do once you give it what it has been missing for decades. But the most remarkable part, the detail that truly separates this discovery from everything else, is how quickly the results begin. Some men report waking up with stronger morning erections within days. Others notice improved fullness during arousal after their very first serving. And while everyone responds at their own pace, the pattern is unmistakable. The older the man, the stronger the effect. Now that you understand the power of this plant protein, the question becomes clear. What exactly is it, and why does it work so uniquely well for men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond? The answer is surprisingly simple, and it's coming next. 5. Why this protein works better for older men than any pill ever could. Most men are shocked when they hear this, but the truth is undeniable. As you cross 60, 70, even 80, your body actually becomes more responsive to this specific plant protein than it ever was in your younger years. It's almost unbelievable, a complete reversal of what we expect from aging. You spend decades being told that getting older means decline, slowdown, loss. Yet here is a rare moment in biology where age becomes an advantage, where the very changes that once weakened your erections suddenly make you the perfect candidate for a dramatic comeback. And for many men, this realization feels like a deep emotional release. Not because the science is impressive, but because for the first time in years, they feel a spark of hope that their body isn't done, not even close. Inside your arteries, especially those responsible for sexual performance, lies a system that has been starving quietly for decades. The decline in nitric oxide, the stiffening of blood vessels, the slowed repair of endothelial cells, it all creates the same painful outcome. Erections become weaker, slower, unpredictable. Pills try to force this broken system to work harder, but when the foundation isn't there, pressure alone isn't enough. That's why so many men say Viagra stopped working, or works sometimes, or delivers results that don't feel natural. The pill might open the door slightly, but the machinery inside is still damaged. But this plant protein does something no medication can do. It feeds the system. It repairs the lining. It nourishes the arteries. And because older men have more damage to repair, the effect is more dramatic. Imagine giving a thirsty plant its first real drink of water in years. The response isn't small, it's explosive. That's what happens inside the aging male body when this protein reaches the bloodstream. It doesn't force the erection. It restores the pathway that makes the erection possible, and the emotional impact of that cannot be overstated. Men tell me they feel relief, gratitude, even disbelief. They tell me it feels like getting a part of themselves back, a part they thought age had taken forever. There is also a deeper truth here, one that I see every day in my practice. Older men are not fragile. They are not too old. Their bodies still want to work, still want to respond, still want to feel alive. They simply need the right trigger. And this plant protein delivers that trigger with absolute precision: improved blood flow, restored endothelial function, faster nitric oxide production, stronger pressure inside the penile chambers. Not temporarily, not artificially, but naturally, consistently, and deeply. And the older you are, the more powerful this transformation becomes. But what surprises men most isn't the strength of the effect, it's how quickly it begins. Some report a difference within days. Others feel the shift during their very first week. The timeline varies, but the direction is always the same. Upward, stronger, fuller, more responsive. And what comes next in this journey is crucial, because now that you understand why older men respond so powerfully, you're finally ready to learn exactly what this protein is and how to use it to restore the kind of erections you haven't felt in years. 6. How this protein repairs blood flow. Inside the penis, starting in the first 48 hours. Most men don't expect this, but the very first changes this plant protein creates happen far deeper than the surface. They begin inside the microscopic blood vessels of the penis, the same vessels that Viagra tries to force open, Yet in men over 60, those vessels are often too stiff, too damaged, too inflamed to respond the way they should. And here is the shocking truth. The collapse of these tiny arteries is the #1 silent reason erections fade with age. Not testosterone, not desire, not attraction, blood flow, pure and simple. When those vessels narrow, even by a hair, pressure drops. And erections weaken. But when those vessels reopen, even slightly, everything changes. The emotional weight of this is enormous because erectile issues aren't just physical. They affect a man's confidence, his connection with his partner, and the private sense of masculinity he rarely talks about but feels every single day. Many men blame themselves, thinking they just got old or lost their touch, when in reality, the problem has always been biological. And that's what makes this next part so powerful. This plant protein doesn't push the blood through damaged vessels. It repairs the lining of those vessels. It begins nourishing cells that haven't been fed properly in decades. It reduces arterial inflammation that has quietly stolen your firmness for years. It helps the endothelium soften and reopen. And unlike synthetic drugs, it doesn't strain your heart, spike your blood pressure, or cause the pounding headaches so many men complain about. It works in harmony with the aging male body, not against it. Within the first 48 hours, many men feel subtle but undeniable signs: a warm sensation, a heavier feeling, stronger blood movement, a sense that the body is waking back up. These early shifts aren't the full transformation, they are the first whispers of your circulation returning. And as days pass, the repair process accelerates. Blood begins filling the chambers more easily. Pressure builds more naturally. The response time shortens. The body starts reclaiming abilities that once felt permanently lost. It's not sudden like a pill. It's steady, reliable, and rooted in true biological healing. And there is something deeply moving about this stage. Men often tell me they feel hope again, real hope, because for the first time in years, their body is not fighting against them. It's working with them. It's repairing. It's strengthening. It's preparing them for the kind of sexual function they thought belonged only to their past. And once that repair begins, the benefits keep compounding. Better nighttime blood flow, improved circulation during the day, and a noticeable difference in how quickly and firmly they respond to arousal. But as powerful as this early healing is, it's nothing compared to what happens when this protein triggers the next phase of restoration, a phase that not only strengthens erections, but keeps them firm and reliable long-term. And that is exactly what we're going to uncover next. 7. The long-term effect. How this protein rebuilds the erection system from the inside out. Here's the part that shocks almost every man who hears it. The longer you stay on this plant protein, the stronger your erections become. Not because it forces your body to perform, but because it rebuilds the entire erectile system from the ground up. Most treatments for older men work like a switch. You take a pill, you get a temporary result, and when the pill wears off, everything fades. But this protein works like a restoration crew moving through the blood vessels, the nerve pathways, and the smooth muscle tissues inside the penis, repairing damage that has been accumulating for 40 or 50 years. And the most extraordinary part is this. The older the damage, the bigger the improvement. That alone is enough to stop most men in their tracks. Inside the penis are 3 chambers that rely on healthy, smooth muscle to trap blood and create the firmness you feel during an erection. As men age, that smooth muscle slowly turns into scar-like tissue. You can't feel it happening, but you see the results. Weaker hardness, shorter duration, slower response, less sensitivity. What makes this protein so remarkable is that it contains rare amino acids that stimulate the regeneration of smooth muscle cells, something scientists once believed was impossible after age 70. Yet here we are, watching older men rebuild tissue that doctors once assumed was permanently lost. Emotionally, this is where I see the biggest shift in my patients. Because when your smooth muscle begins to regenerate, you don't just feel physical strength returning, you feel something deeper, something you may not have felt in years. Control stability, confidence, that quiet sense of knowing your body can still rise to the moment without fear, without pressure, without the disappointment that keeps so many older men silent and discouraged. And as the weeks pass, nighttime erections become stronger, morning erections return, and performance feels more natural, more automatic, more youthful. You're not fighting for firmness anymore. Your body is creating it on its own. But this is also where the long-term benefits go far beyond sexual health. When the blood vessels inside the penis repair, the same improvement ripples outward through the entire circulatory system. Men report clearer thinking, more energy, better sleep, fewer nighttime bathroom trips, and a sense of vitality they haven't felt since their 50s, because when blood flow is restored in the smallest vessels, it improves circulation everywhere. This isn't just about erections. It's about aging in reverse in one of the most powerful ways a man can experience. And yet, the most important question remains. If this plant protein is so effective, so restorative, and so perfectly designed for the aging male body, what exactly is it, and how should you use it to get the fastest, strongest results? That's where we go next. And trust me, this is the part you don't want to miss. 8. The unexpected source. Why this vegetable protein was hidden in plain sight for decades. Most men can't believe it when they hear this, but the most powerful erection-restoring protein for men over 60 didn't come from a lab, a supplement company, or a pharmaceutical breakthrough. It came from a simple vegetable that's been sitting quietly in grocery stores for years, ignored, underestimated, and completely misunderstood. And the truth is almost shocking. This one plant protein outperforms Viagra not because it's stronger, but because it works with an aging body instead of trying to overpower it. The irony is painful. Men have spent decades searching for answers in pills, powders, prescriptions, while the real solution was growing in the soil the whole time. What makes this even more emotional is realizing how many years men spent thinking their body was failing them, when in reality, they were never given the right fuel. As you age, your body stops responding to heavy proteins, synthetic boosters, and blood pressure spiking medications, but it becomes incredibly sensitive, almost hungry, for clean, easily absorbed amino acids that feed your blood vessels directly. This vegetable protein delivers exactly that. It doesn't get stuck in your gut, it doesn't inflame your arteries, and it doesn't make your heart race. Instead, it slips into the bloodstream with almost no resistance, restores nitric oxide production, and rebuilds the tissue that creates firmness. And for many men, the realization that something so simple can do so much brings a deep sense of relief, because it means their body isn't broken, it simply needed the right support. What's even more surprising is how quickly older men respond to this protein. Younger men absorb it too, of course, but older men absorb it better. Their bodies use it more efficiently, pushing it straight toward the places starving for repair. I've had countless patients tell me they felt the first shifts in blood flow within days, the first signs of returning strength within a week, and the first truly firm, confident erections in years within the first month. These aren't isolated stories. They're a pattern, a predictable, repeatable transformation in men who had nearly given up hope. And here's the emotional core of this discovery. When a man restores his erections, he restores more than function. He restores connection, intimacy, confidence, the quiet, private pride that aging often threatens to take away. That's why this protein matters so much. It's not about the vegetable itself. It's about what it gives back to a man who thought time had already taken too much. But we still haven't addressed the question burning in your mind right now. What exactly is this vegetable protein, and how should you use it to get the fastest and strongest results? In the next section, I'll reveal the exact food, how much you need, how often to take it, and the simple method that turns it into a natural Viagra alternative for men over 70. This is where everything finally comes together. 9. The final reveal, the plant protein that restores erections naturally. After 70. Most men are stunned when they discover the truth, because it goes against everything they've been told for decades. The most effective, fast-acting, naturally absorbable protein for restoring erections after 60 doesn't come from eggs, steak, or supplements. It comes from a simple vegetable, edamame. Yes, the same bright green soybean you've probably walked past 100 times at the grocery store without giving it a second thought. But here is the shocking part. Edamame contains the highest quality plant protein for older men, packed with arginine, citrulline, isoflavones, and complete amino acids that directly support blood vessel repair, nitric oxide production, and smooth muscle regeneration inside the penis. And unlike animal protein, your body doesn't struggle to digest it. It absorbs it instantly, sending the nutrients straight into your bloodstream where your arteries need them most. The emotional weight of this truth cannot be overstated, because so many men have silently believed their decline was permanent. They thought erections fading was the end of the story. They thought intimacy was slipping away forever. And for years, no one told them that their body wasn't the problem, their fuel was. When an older man begins eating edamame consistently, something deep inside his physiology begins to shift. Inflammation drops, blood flow increases, nitric oxide rises, smooth muscle strengthens, and day by day, week by week, the erections he thought were gone start returning, naturally, confidently, and without pressure. What makes edamame even more powerful is its unique isoflavone profile. These compounds act almost like a gentle, natural hormonal support system for older men, reducing arterial stiffness, improving endothelial function, and helping the vessels inside the penis behave like they did decades earlier. It doesn't spike testosterone, but it allows the testosterone you already have to work better. And when blood flow and hormone signaling align, erection quality improves dramatically. This is why countless men in their 60s, 70s, and 80s are reporting morning erections again. Some for the first time in years. It's not coincidence. It's not luck. It's biology responding to the right nutrition. And here's the part that moves me most. When men experience these changes, they don't just talk about physical improvement. They talk about feeling alive again, feeling connected again, feeling hopeful again. They talk about holding their partner differently, approaching intimacy with confidence instead of fear, waking up excited for the day instead of defeated by it. Because when a man restores his erections, he restores a part of his identity, one he never wanted to lose. So here is my recommendation as a doctor who has dedicated over 30 years to helping men just like you. Start with 1 cup of edamame every other day. Boil it for 5 minutes, add a small pinch of sea salt or a touch of olive oil, and eat it as a snack or side. Give your body the chance to repair itself. Give your blood vessels the amino acids they've been starving for, and give yourself the opportunity, finally, to feel the strength, vitality, and masculine power you deserve at any age. Because the truth is simple, the body never forgets how to respond. It only needs the right support. And now, you know exactly where to begin.